This is exactly what it says on the label. It's a review of the key beliefs and practices of Islam. It's based on the assumption that you're getting the broader picture from your textbook, from the films that you watched, but this is just a quick reminder of the core essentials. So, key beliefs. First of all, one God. There is only one God. That God is the creator of the universe. And that's the central key belief. There is only one God. One important thing to remember, Allah is the Arabic word for God. It's not a name for God like Jupiter or Baal. So if you hear a reference to Allah, it's simply God in Arabic. It's not a personal name. There is only one God, and that is the creator of the universe. Belief 2. Muhammad is God's last prophet. Now, along with that, it's worth keeping in mind that Islam accepts the concept that there have been previous revelations from God before that of Muhammad. And so there were many prophets that came before Muhammad. Some of those included Abraham, some of those included Moses. Jesus was also a prophet from God. The problem is that people got the messages that are being sent by the prophets wrong. And that's where you get Judaism, that's where you get Christianity. And particularly in the case of Christianity, Christians interpreted incorrectly that Jesus was the Son of God when he was actually a prophet of God, is the belief. So there have been a number of prophets before, but the last prophet of God is Muhammad. And Muhammad is the only one who was able to give God's revelation in full in the form of the Quran. Judgment. At the end of time, all people will be judged for their deeds. People who had good deeds outweighed their sins would go to paradise. People who had more sins than good deeds would go to hellfire. And this was actually one of the more controversial ideas when Islam began among the Arab population. That it was a newer concept for them, but it is one of the core beliefs of Islam. Finally, the Quran, the recitation. And this is the religious text, similar in some ways to when we're talking about the Torah, we're talking about the Bible, or the Vedas, or a number of other religious texts. One thing that makes this a little bit different is that the Quran is a single text written down from the words recited by Muhammad and gathered together in the Quran. So it's a single text originating at one point in time. So if you think of, like, for example, the Bible or the Vedas, you're talking about a number of different texts that have been collected together. In the case of the Bible and the Torah, they're clearly created at different points in time and brought together. And in fact, in those cases, they were undoubtedly written in different languages over that period of time. And so the expectation with those texts is that you are going to meet them to some degree in translation. The Quran, the belief is that it is a literal word of God. God spoke this revelation through Muhammad in Arabic, and that is how it was written down. So there's a belief that to truly understand the Quran, you have to read it in Arabic, if at all possible. That is the only way to truly understand it, because that is the word that it was spoken in. Sam. Okay, my apologies for the barking. That was Sam. Essential practices. The 5 pillars is what they're commonly called. And these are the practices that have to go with it. First of all, the believer must declare in Arabic, there is only one God and Muhammad is God's prophet. Okay, so that back to those core beliefs. There is only one God and Muhammad is God's prophet. The believer must pray 5 times daily, facing towards Mecca. And that actually historically played an important role in encouraging understandings of geography and in some cases mathematical computations. Because people had to be able to figure out where Mecca was in relationship to where they were at the current time. And so in some cases it took a fair amount of intellectual and knowledge to make those calculations. If you are in a city with a mosque, a large mosque, you may hear the call to prayer at those five times of the day to remind Muslims that it's time to pray. Almsgiving, giving to charity, basically, charitable gifts, is a duty to God and a social duty. That may include money, it may include food. Charitable gifts and wills often went to support the madrasas. Those are the schools that are attached to mosques and hospitals, and mosques themselves to keep them going. So giving to charity. Fasting during the month of Ramadan. And the belief is during the Muslim month of Ramadan is the month in which the angel first appeared to Muhammad. All those who are able must abstain from physical pleasures, including eating, drinking, all other physical pleasures from sunrise to sunset. And then ideally, after the day of fasting, you share your evening meal with your family, your friends, and the poor, people in need, to bring them together. Of course, if you can't physically do the fasting, due to reasons of illness, age, things like that, that's understood. But if at all possible, the goal is to fast. Hajj, pilgrimage. If at all possible, every Muslim must make the Hajj or pilgrimage to Mecca once in his or her life. Historically, that was pretty rare. It was very difficult to make that journey, and those who managed it would actually add that to their name. So if you see somebody's name historically, and it's got Haji in it, that means there is someone who made the pilgrimage to Mecca. With modern transportation, not every Muslim can do it, but it's become a much more doable thing. And you can sort of get a sense of that if you look at that picture there of Muslims praying at the Kaaba during the Hajj. And it's become a much more achievable goal to the point where sometimes it actually overwhelms the resources of the area. But that's the goal, pilgrimage to Mecca. So summary of beliefs, only one God, Muhammad is his prophet, judgment after death, the Quran is the word of God, exactly in Arabic. Summary of practices, declaration of faith, there is only one God and Muhammad is his prophet, daily prayer, fasting during Ramadan, giving to charity, and performing the Hajj if possible. That's it.